Why are you here talking to us today?
I'm in here for first-degree murder. Killed my wife, I guess. They told me I did.
Her body was covered in bruises. She had fresh rib fractures. She had hemorrhages in her head, shoulders, back.
What would make you grab her by the hair, by your own admission, drag her through the trailer, and hurl her through a closet door?
I don't remember doing that, sir. You gotta understand.
You told the police that.
Yeah, I know.
Do you accept that you did that?
No, I don't accept it because I don't think I done that.
It's a man who's in love, who's in a tumultuous relationship, and who snaps.
I put it on the beat out of her. I call the wife Sally.
We have breaking news.
A man from Ocala has been found
guilty
Guilty of first-degree murder in the beating death of his ex-wife, Lisa O'Rourke Jeffrey.
He has no soul. He's absolute devil. There's nothing to him.
Bo Peep Jeffrey's lawyer argued at trial that he struck his wife in the heat of passion, never intending to kill her. But 3 years into his life sentence, Jeffrey is about to tell me a different story that just might open a new window into the mind of this convicted murderer. Do you remember punching her in the face several times?
No,
You don't remember the fight with Lisa?
not at all, mister.
Jeffrey claims he has no memory of the crime he committed in November 2018, or of his detailed confessions to police a month later, because, he says, he simply blacked out. If you were me, would you believe you? From the soft, sandy shoreline of the Sunshine State, it's hard to imagine anything but bliss. But driving inland from Daytona Beach into the shadows of the murky marshes, a darkness descends. I'm meeting a killer here at the Tomoka Correctional Institution. Bo Peep Jeffrey is serving a life sentence for brutally beating his ex-wife to death in his Florida trailer home. He wants to talk, he says, to correct the record and raise questions about his conviction. Clock starts now, right? I want to get inside his head to understand how this domestic homicide happened. But we only have 1 hour, and the clock is ticking. We're here because we really want to understand the mindset and motivations behind your actions.
Yes, sir.
Why are you here talking to us today?
I'm in here for first-degree murder. Killed my wife, I guess. They told me I did.
I'd like to come to that night in a little bit, but
Okay.
first I'd like to learn a little bit more about you. Is that all right? What was your upbringing like? Happy home, unhappy home?
I never really had a home. We travel. We're gypsies, so we travel around, different language, everything.
Jeffrey descends from a long line of Romany or so-called gypsy travelers and a hard-scrabble nomadic lifestyle. Where does the name Bo Peep come from?
My dad was the only one could read. The only book he could read was the story Little Bo Peep lost her sheep. So when I was born, they named me Bo Pete.
I see.
Because they nicknamed my daddy Bo Pete when he was a little boy. So he was Big Bo Pete and I was Little Bo Pete.
And you were Lil Bo Pete.
Right.
You mentioned to the court and the investigators that you are unable to write.
I dropped out of school in the 5th grade.
So you never learned to read or write?
No, sir, I'm going to education here.
Let me ask you this, Pete. When did the drinking start?
I've been drinking all my life. Saying is, he used to give us beer in our bottles.
Seriously?
Yeah,
When you were young children?
babies.
You had, over the course of your life, at least 5 DUIs, right?
I had probably, but yeah, I've had quite a few DUIs.
And you've had a bit of other previous trouble with the law, right?
Yeah,
There was an aggravated assault when you were 19 that was dropped, right?
I don't remember that
Remember
one.
that? Criminal trespass in 2002. Was that your ex-wife's?
Yeah,
Did you get mad and kick in the closet door?
Karen was out there.
But what about you? Did you get mad and kick in the door?
Oh, I don't harm my stuff. I don't.
Okay. There were probation violations. There were swindling charges.
Yeah, that's what I went to prison for.
5 years, and you got out in 2010.
Yes, sir.
That's a fair amount of criminal activity.
Yeah.
Are you someone who's criminally minded?
No, I would just say all of those things there is sort of what I do for a living. Charging people for not doing enough work for what you charge them for.
Right.
It's called theft by deception.
Traveling scammers preying on unsuspecting Floridians.
They do shoddy work or incomplete work or no work at all.
I just hope nobody else lets these people come in and scam them like they did me.
Jeffrey was brought up in the asphalt paving business, a trade he says was handed down in his traveling community.
We was raised in laying asphalt driveways. It's what we did all of our lives. So I got a truck when I was 13 years old in Waco, Texas, and I've been knocking on doors ever since.
But his business model was swindling elderly homeowners, a felony crime that sent him to prison. And then, a couple years after you got out, you met Lisa, right? Tell me about her, Pete. What was she like? Who's her personality, her looks?
Lisa was my dream woman, I'll put it that way.
Your dream woman.
Just the way she talked, she was cheerful, and she was raised the way I did, raised in asphalt. We was like we was married all of our lives and known one another all of our life.
Did you love Lisa or did you hate her?
I love Lisa to the day, sir.
Because you told the police, I was actually waiting for Lisa to die of natural causes because I hated her that bad. You told the detectives, I love that woman more than life.
Right.
Did you really mean that? You did.
Still to the day.
Still to the day.
Yes, sir.
Stop a second. I can only tell you the number of domestic homicide suspects that have said something similar, that they truly loved their wife or their girlfriend.
Former FBI agent Brad Garrett has spent decades trying to understand the mind and motives behind violent killers.
This is hard for people to understand, that you could actually love and care for somebody and actually miss them. In the middle of that, you have brutally killed them. In his twisted reality, it's genuine emotion.
Did you love Lisa or did you hate her?
I love Lisa to the day, sir.
Because you told the police, I was actually waiting for Lisa to die of natural causes.
I was actually waiting on Lisa to die of natural causes, because in reality, I hated her that bad.
I hated her that bad, but not enough to kill her.
I don't remember none of that.
Hello.
Mr. Boo?
Yes, sir.
Deputy Batts, Marion County Sheriff's Office. How are you?
I'm okay.
Are you home?
No.
Okay, do you have a few minutes to talk to me?
Yes?
Trying to talk to you about your missing wife.
When Lisa's family failed to make contact with her in the weeks following her birthday, Deputy Calvin Batts began to search for the missing woman.
It came in as a citizen's assist call from Miss Lisa's aunt. She was honest with me. She explained that Lisa had some troubles in her life and was known to disappear for a day or two max, but would always return her phone calls, would always get back in touch with her. At that point in time, it was about 3 weeks since she had heard from her. So made the phone call to Bo Pete Jeffrey.
She's been going to jail or robbing people and stuff. And I don't know, sir, where your former's at. I know first I was calling, threatening me, and she told me I had to produce her by 6 o'clock today. And I'm like, gosh, I don't know where the woman is. And I can't keep up with her no more.
He would say that she's sick, or she's sleeping, or she just wasn't there.
Did he ever sound concerned?
He never sounded concerned. And finally, I was just, somebody needs to do something.
I would ask him a direct question, and he was feeding me a bunch of nonsense. What he was telling me definitely elevated my level of suspicion by the end of that phone call.
Bat's investigation quickly led police to this trailer park and to this pristine trailer home where the couple lived together.
So a lot of things have obviously changed over the past 6 years. These two campers here, they're still the same. That's funny. But this is exactly where everything took place. His camper, it was just completely elaborate as compared to the rest of the campers and the homes that are around here. He actually had Little Bo Peep written out across the back of his tailgate.
Photo evidence revealed the inside of the trailer was equally meticulous, at least before it became a crime scene. I'm struck by your pride of place. Your home, your cars, immaculate.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
What does that tell us about you?
Well, I love life. I love responsibility. I love to enjoy things about stuff. The way I was raised, we always kept new vehicles and customized camper trailers.
Tell me about your home. I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
It looks on the inside like a lovely suburban home.
It's an apartment on wheel. I'm the only man that ever had a 50-foot travel trailer.
Take me inside, Pete. You walk in.
Well, this one here, when you walked in, I had sliding glass doors. If you go straight in, you walk into a huge living room and a slide out. This way was a foyer with china cabinets and easy boy chairs. I had custom made a bathroom and a bedroom. Then when you come back in the living room, over there was a slide out, had an entertainment system with a 70-inch TV, fireplaces, built-in stereo.
Fireplace?
Yes, sir. Mine had LED lights in the roof, central heat, 2 air conditioners. They used to have little places called mini homes. Mine was a mini mansion.
Mini mansion, yeah. Nicest in the park, I'm sure?
Well, yeah, you don't get no better.
But there was trouble in Jeffrey's trailer park paradise. Bo Pete Jeffrey was an alcoholic, and Lisa fought a losing battle with drug addiction. You described her crack binges.
She'd take no money and go down to the crack bottom until every penny was gone.
Prostitution?
People ask me, why should your wife come out of that Sioux Freight motel all during the nights? I didn't know that until later.
Theft?
Yes.
You said she would take your cars and wreck them. You said at one point, I lived in a prison in my own house.
I would have to take these bags, the bank bags, and I'd put all my keys in them. I would hide it. I used to
hide it from her?
Yeah.
That must have pissed you off.
Well, yeah.
Did you lose your patience with her over those kinds of things?
No, like I told you, I understood Lisa. Mm-hmm. And I knew where she was at. I would talk to Lisa, and I love Lisa so much that I would never do anything The trucks, I loved my wife more than I did the truck.
There was tension though, right? You guys got into fights. Her daughters say that they did witness you roughing her up at times. In 2016, she was trying to take your truck and they say you said, "I'll kill you if you take my truck."
I never laid a hand on their mom until this incident here.
Crystal Collins says that she showed up in Indiana with a broken nose and a horseshoe imprinted in her forehead.
Cat ones, some good ones.
From a ring that you used to wear.
I used to wear rings on all my fingers, and mister, if I'd have hit somebody with my hand, first of all, the prayer hands would have got you first. Then the $5 gold piece and the horseshoe ring wouldn't have did nothing to you because it was just a little bitty thin horseshoe. So where that one come from, I'd like to know.
This is a man with chronic, long-standing alcohol abuse, and he seems to be a mean drunk.
Dr. Robert Hanlon is a forensic neuropsychologist who analyzes violent criminal offenders, including domestic murderers.
It seems to be very clear in multiple reports that he would frequently abuse her. I don't know this for a fact, but I strongly suspect that most of the physical abuse that he executed on her was fueled by alcohol, and perhaps it was at times in reaction to her behavior when she was high on crack cocaine.
Never know nothing about crack cocaine in my life till I was around Lisa.
They're both chronic substance abusers. It's a huge factor in the relationship between him and her.
I looked down one time and I looked at all these little gold things on the floor of the commode of the trailer because it's brand new and we had the hardwood stuff. And I'm like, what is all of this? And it was Brillo pad, you know what I mean?
Brillo pad.
I guess it's what they put into the crack pipe, the smoke pipe.
After 6 years of marriage, Lisa was in and out of jail. And a female relative named Patience was spending more time in the trailer just as Bo Pete was losing his patience for Lisa. Let's go to 2018.
Yes, sir.
You've gotten closer to Patience.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And it seems like at some point you're ready to move on with your life from Lisa around that time,
yes,
right? In
sir.
fact, you filed for divorce.
I did get a divorce.
But even in a 50-foot-long double-wide trailer, 3 can become a crowd. Were the 3 of you living in the trailer at the same time in that period after the divorce?
Yeah, the front bedroom, but she never lived in there. She stayed there, but there was no...
But you all were together as a couple?
No.
You have a new girlfriend? Named Patience?
I have a cousin that stays with me.
And she's your girlfriend?
November 5th, 2018 was Lisa Jeffrey's 48th birthday. It was also her last night alive. Mr. Jeffrey, tell me what happened that night in as much detail as you can remember. It was her birthday, right?
It was her birthday. There was a little oyster bar on 27, so I had been drinking pretty good.
At a nearby bar, Lisa and Bo Pete Jeffrey celebrated with karaoke and friends. And heavy drinking. You were on White Russians that night.
Right.
How many do you think you drank?
I drank 30, 40. And I was also drinking Fireballs. I was drinking, but I wasn't eating. And the woman was making the White Russians with the chocolate and the Kahlua right in front of us and shaking them up. And this might sound like a lie, but that's when they pulled my cord, and I couldn't tell you after that until I woke up in the county jail in Marion County on December the 8th.
Jeffrey now claims that for an entire month after the crime, his memory is completely blacked out, including his confessions to police. But as police pieced together their investigation, Jeffrey's mindset and motives came into focus.
I just kept following up on this case, heading out there, talking to as many different neighbors as I could.
How you doing, sir? Deputy Bats. How you doing? Good, sir. You stay right here.
I was trying to get in contact with your neighbor Bo Pete here, but can't seem to get a hold of him. When's the last time y'all saw him?
He ain't inside dead, is he?
No, he's not inside dead. I talked to him on the phone the other day.
Oh, okay.
Y'all seen his wife?
Which one?
His actual wife.
Oh, the one that's sick?
Y'all seen her in a while?
I haven't seen her.
When you arrived there at lot 808, was anybody else there at this camper?
Yes, there was somebody else there. There was a Miss Patience.
Remember her last name?
Burton, is that right? You have a new girlfriend? Named Patience?
I have a cousin that stays with me.
And she's your girlfriend?
She's your friend.
Okay, so how long has she been living with you?
Well, me and her have been together since May the 3rd.
But your wife has been back at the house living with y'all. I mean, are you and your cousin in a sexual relationship?
No, she wouldn't allow that to happen.
All right, so you and your cousin are not together.
Not as a husband and wife.
What about as a boyfriend and girlfriend?
Me? No. God knows. This is my cousin.
In fact, Patience Burton and Jeffrey were in a romantic relationship, and she knew his terrible secret.
Patience come over to help me about a week later, and she kept saying there's a weird smell coming from up there. And I said, you want to know the truth? It's Lisa's body. He said, you gotta do something with this. And I said, I don't know what to.
Then, almost a month after the murder, police confronted Patience Burton at the trailer.
When she saw law enforcement presence, she got extremely startled very quickly. We, explained to her why we were here, who we were looking for. We explained to her we kind of knew who she was at that point in time.
One day later, Burton opened the trailer to the police investigators, who zeroed in on this cabinet under a bed.
When I first opened the doors, I then started to smell like a faint odor of decomposition. We started to remove some of the items from underneath the bed. As we did, the odor became a lot stronger. And then there was a black tarp type object underneath the bed that when I pulled on it, it was very heavy and it appeared there was something wrapped inside.
And was the body of Lisa Jeffrey located in that storage compartment underneath the bed?
Yes, ma'am.
I remember going around the backside of this camper, knocking on the different doors, trying to look in the different windows. It's tragic to think that she was right here the whole time.
Marion County Sheriff's Office detectives got word that the defendant was up in Putnam County at a relative's house. Detectives Lytle and Lieutenant Claude McQuaig drove on up there.
A haggard Jeffrey was taken into custody and questioned.
Have a seat, sir. We're just going to talk to you, okay? Hey, this is Lieutenant McQuaig. Hey, how you doing?
All right, sir.
All right, Detective Lytle with Marion County.
Thank you.
Do you want to have a seat up here?
I can't make it back up there.
Need a hand, or?
My whole body's just going away.
Yeah?
Sergeant John Lytle with the Marion County Sheriff's Office was tasked with prying the truth out of the distraught suspect.
He appeared to be exhausted, hungover, and he was just in rough shape. He had indicated that he had spent the last 2 weeks drinking and basically on a bender.
Vomiting and struggling to answer questions, Bo Pete Jeffrey requests to be taken to a hospital, where authorities resume their interrogation over the course of 2 days.
I've had to hit her and knock her in the face because she was sick, and I never hit her anywhere down here if I ever was going to hit her.
You're gesturing like below the neck. You never hit her down here. How many times did you hit her?
5.
As we were talking, as he was describing what was happening, he was actually punching his fists, describing all the years of problems in their marriage, all the things he was accusing her of.
All that wretchedness.
You don't remember the fight with Lisa?
Not at all, mister.
You're saying you don't remember anything that happened after you drank at the oyster bar?
Not at all.
Because you gave quite a bit of detail to the police in those 3 interrogations.
I heard them.
Right? How were you able to convey all that detail to the police?
You tell me and we'll both know, mister, not being a smart.
So stop for a second. So I find the whole Blackout thing total BS. You know, it is just a cover story to justify to the rest of us who might be naive enough to think, well, maybe that did happen and he doesn't remember, you know, and poor me, right? Because I blacked out. He knows what he did. He said what he did, you know, and then now sitting in prison years later, it's like, well, you know, that story's not completely accurate. Here's the real story now. And it makes him look less evil, obviously. And in his mind, I think maybe not guilty.
Is there any possibility that he can't remember any of this? Is it possible that for whatever, you know, brain misfunction or deflection, he is unable to recall at this point? Or is it just complete lies?
But he didn't say exactly what he did to the police. So how can you go from details about what you have done and admit what you have done to now I don't remember anything that I've done, even though you've said it. And now he's also saying he doesn't remember telling the police that. So 3 different times and 3 different interviews on 3 different days.
In such detail?
And said, yeah, it's just a cover story. It's all ridiculous, you know, and nobody's believing this. He doesn't even believe it.
Okay, so you were back at the house. You go in there and you see that she doesn't have her britches on. And you put her underwear on, and you guys go to lay down in bed together.
I kept asking her, what was she doing? And, you know, Lisa has problems, you see, sir. And all of this was constant. I had that brand new $1,900 mattress, and she all on it bad. I never could get the smell out of it. I had to get the smell out of there. I can't stand smell, and you ever seen human?
Yeah, that's not pleasant.
Do you remember, you told them that when you got home after the oyster bar, you walk in and the first thing you see in your picture-perfect trailer is Lisa sitting on the furniture with no underwear on.
That's what they told me. I said, sir.
And now that doesn't sound like such a big deal to most people, but that was not a trivial issue for you. And it sounds like that set you off. Do you remember that?
It was her home. She run around in her underwear all the time. Why would I get mad about it?
What would make you grab her by the hair, by your own admission, drag her through the trailer, and hurl her through a closet door?
I don't remember doing that, sir. You gotta understand.
You told the police that.
Yeah, I know. They told me I told her that. I heard the thing.
Do you accept that you did that?
No, I don't accept it because I don't think I done that. That day, nothing was going wrong till I fled.
At one point, you use the C word and describe her. I don't even want to read that. But that day, nothing was going wrong until I flipped and grabbed her by the hair and pulled her right into our room. I slung her against those closets.
Slung her against those closets, you'll see it's broke. Right.
In the middle of this very detailed recounting of his words that I give him, he snickers when I decline to read the vulgar things he said about her.
He knows he said that, and that's what he thinks about her in reference to whatever angered him to harm her to the point of killing her. So that's what I think. It's like, well, she is that. She is the C word. It's like he flashed back to the day of when it was going on and the reason that he did in his mind what he did.
So that is a tell.
That is a tell in my view.
I call the wife Sally. So I put it on the beat out of her. Yes, sir, I meant to knock it out of her. Real self, put her up in the face. I can remember the next morning her face was so swollen bad, like a pumpkin.
You said to the police that the attack took place over 3 or 4 hours.
It's a good one too, mister.
Well, that's your words. This was going on for 3 or 4 hours at night, and
it was
an all-night little thing.
Don't you think somebody could have heard her scream? That's one of the best ones I've heard yet. There's no way that you could have beat somebody 4 or 5 hours or did anything in a camper in a campground for 4 or 5 hours.
And you're telling me that you don't remember any of it, and that whatever you said to the police, you don't accept that it's the truth.
Correct.
Very likely. This man knows what alcoholic blackouts are like. He has experienced them before. But the fact of the matter is, he provided a detailed account of the crime when he was interrogated by the police. It makes no sense from a psychological perspective. It makes no sense from a neuropsychological perspective. It's just not credible.
2 days after Lisa's birthday, while Jeffrey claims he blacked out, he's caught on surveillance camera shopping for packaging supplies at a local hardware store. Let me ask you this, because the attack may or may not have been premeditated. I wasn't there, I don't know. But the cover-up certainly was. You agree with that?
I don't remember doing that.
But evidence uncovered from Jeffrey's trailer documents a methodical and maniacal plan to hide Lisa's body.
Court TV live on our continuing coverage of the state of Florida versus Bo Pete Jeffrey, on trial for beating his wife to death and hiding her body in his trailer.
On July 21st, 2021, Bo Pete Jeffrey was put on trial in Marion County, Florida, for the murder of his ex-wife, Lisa Jeffrey.
We're going to get started with our trial at this time.
Over the course of 3 days, 12 jurors listened to the prosecution and defense deliver their case.
Everything this man did was intentional to kill Lisa Jeffrey.
He doesn't really know what happened. His wife's dead. He's scared.
The state presented surveillance footage obtained from a local hardware store, the Rural King, which showed Jeffrey purchasing a box of 42-gallon trash bags 2 days after Lisa was last seen alive. The price of disposing of her body, $10.38. The attack may or may not have been premeditated. I wasn't there, I don't know. But the cover-up certainly was. You agree with that?
I don't remember doing that. I seen
let me walk you through it, right? That morning of the 7th, you're there. That's you, right? At the Rural King?
Yeah.
That's you. You're buying stuff. Then, as you describe it to the police, you lay her body out. You methodically wrap it with saran wrap and then garbage bags, and then put her in a sleeping bag, and then in a duffel bag, and then you unscrew the platform underneath the mattress and you stuff the body in there.
Yes, sir.
Right? You don't remember any of that, Pete?
No.
You don't remember what her dead body looked like laying out there in front of you?
No, sir, I don't.
You don't remember seeing that tattoo of your name on her wrist as her body lay limp, dead?
No, sir. I don't remember finding her. I remember they even said there was blood all on the trailer, had white carpet in it. I don't remember even seeing no blood in there.
Everything is clean. The carpets were steam cleaned, bathrooms were cleaned, everything was spotless. But after we did some processing, we determined that there was more than meets the eye. There was blood on the fireplace, there was blood on the walls, there was blood on the table, there was blood throughout the house. So it was clear that a very gruesome, violent murder happened inside this trailer.
You can see that there's so much hemorrhage that's present throughout her tissues that was no longer getting to her vital organs. She died as a result of multiple blunt force injuries.
Do you accept now that you did wrap her up and stuff her in that cabinet?
I accept what happened to her as it comes to me, mister.
What does that mean?
She's dead. She was wrapped in a thing and put underneath the bed. They said I did it. So that's what I have to eat every day of my life, just like these statements I gave.
Part of the interview where he cracked and showed a lot of emotion was when I had asked him about Lisa's body? What were you going to do with Lisa's body? And that's when he completely lost it. Began sobbing like a baby, a grown man crying about his wife being dead and not being able to know what to do with her body.
You say you're remorseful, right?
If that means, yeah, I miss my wife, I love her too.
Well, remorseful means that you regret your actions. You've reflected on them and you regret your actions and you take responsibility for your actions.
I'm sad that Lisa's dead, sir.
That's as far as you'll go.
I'm sad that Lisa's dead. Breaks my heart. Lisa was everything out of all the women I ever had that I ever wanted. She was my buddy. She was my wife. She was my life. I did not want Lisa dead. I don't want Lisa dead now. I didn't want her dead then.
The evidence suggests that you did do these things,
sir.
right?
I'm not saying that.
At one point, did you try and get another inmate to take the fall for this crime?
He told me that he would tell him that he did it. I'm like, hell yeah, come on with it.
You prepared to lie?
Well, yeah, if you want to call it that.
Jeffrey makes one last desperate attempt to avoid the blame.
After over 4.5 hours, this jury then did come back with a verdict in the case of Florida versus Bo Pete Jeffrey.
On the record, State of Florida versus Bo Pete Jeffrey. Mr. Jeffrey, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree, I'm ordering that you serve a sentence of life imprisonment with the Department of Corrections.
As for Patience Burton, she would plead guilty to giving law enforcement false information. Her sentence ultimately deferred.
There were some issues with how she was helping this defendant during the concealment of the victim's body. The victim's family feeling like she should be held accountable for much more.
You too. Ma'am. Steve, just give it to the middle finger. He's crying over a man that killed an innocent woman and she gets to walk away. I'm on the show, we're never going to speak to her again.
After his conviction, Jeffrey would file numerous motions arguing that he was intoxicated during his police interrogation at the hospital, impaired by medication he was given. We know that he has spent an enormous amount of time and energy and money or prison capital filing appeals. He was paying at one point a prison scribe to handwrite appeals in like perfect penmanship. Can somebody be genuinely remorseful and still obsessed with reducing their sentence?
Yeah, maybe. Only because it becomes survival at some point. Do I want to live the rest of my life in an 8x10 concrete cell, or do I want to try to get out and continue to lead the life that I was leading?
Well-schooled in criminal antics, Bo Pete Jeffrey had one more trick up his sleeve. Did you try and get another inmate to take the fall for this crime?
He had solicited the assistance of a cellmate of his to falsely confess to his crime. I learned about this ruse through listening to his jail phone calls.
Hello, this is a free call from an inmate at Marion County Jail.
Bo Pete Jeffrey.
He was speaking a language called Anglo-Romany, essentially a dead language, speaking with family members and friends from the outside, using Anglo-Romany as a way of tricking law enforcement so that we wouldn't know what he was talking about.
Bottom line is a Joe Rocker that it might be pushed from Andy to Lellau. But I told you, I don't want you pinning anything about Vonda to the Morse, okay?
That guy wanted food, and he told me, yeah, you could say something like that, right?
And you went along with that? Yes. He says you initiated it, but either way, if you were prepared to take responsibility, if you were truly remorseful, why would you try and get someone else to take the fall?
In life, and you looking at life in a prison without parole. Nobody, I tell people this every day in their life, there's nobody in this world can understand what it feels like to be in prison for first-degree premeditated murder, knowing you'll never get out, for something that you would
Stop for a second. So he's going to basically do anything he can to possibly reduce that life sentence. It's all about control and perception that he's now maybe getting over on you. Even though that doesn't work,
right.
But
in his mind.
Yes.
So you were prepared to craft a conspiracy even if it wasn't true? You prepared to lie?
Well, yeah, if you want to call it that. I'm not in here to deny nothing. I tell the truth about everything.
You put in a request form to talk to a detective. But you don't think we should put some money on there right now because it don't want to look like we're buying it, right?
Christopher come to me and told me that he would tell him that he did it. So for food, I'm like, hell yeah, come on with it.
What do you make of his body language here? He's still crossing the arms, but his posture is a little more erect, and he's now dripping with contempt at me.
Right. He's now energized because he's like, well, wait a minute, this guy basically is not buying my stuff, right? And I'm mad because this is what happens. When you don't buy their stuff, they get angry. But the point being, he doesn't like this. You know, the arms are folded and like, this was supposed to go a different way, and you were supposed to feel sorry for me and support me, and you're not doing that.
At some point during your conversations with the defendant, did he tell you to stop looking for her?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said, don't bother looking for her. Or don't worry about her no more. She's not coming back.
If you were me, would you believe you?
If you was me, you would understand what I'm trying to say to you. You're gonna have your own point of view of me. He's gonna have, and he's gonna have. If you're high as a kite and you tell somebody something, it's like I told you, the prosecutor turned it into what she wanted it to be. You're gonna believe what you're gonna believe. I can see your facial expressions looking at me right now and stuff. But if people can understand just simple this, I don't remember anything I told the people that I said I done.
It seems to me he's becoming more bold in his position. He's almost indignant.
He's acting indignant because it's not live anymore, right? He's away from it now. He doesn't have to deal with it anymore. He can just think about it and think about spinning his story and maybe appealing his case.
The interview ends when the clock runs out. Bo Pete Jeffrey had no intention of letting any truth out or me any further in to the murky backwaters of his mind. So I leave this killer much the way I found him, lost in denial and lapsed memory of a woman whose life he took.
What's most tragic about this case is that Lisa was a mom, a sister, a loved family member, a wife, a member of our community, and that she did not deserve what happened to her.
So, thinking about your mother, how do you want her to be remembered?
She had a good soul. She'd do anything for anybody. No matter what it was, she would give you the shirt off her back.
The interview with this killer won't fade fast into my memory, even as I look ahead to the next cold-blooded conversation that awaits.